I just gave my 2 weeks notice at work, and it was probably one of the hardest things I had to do because I have no job lined up now, and it's kind of scary, but I knew it was the right thing that I needed to do in order for me to feel like I'm going to feel good about life.
We were achieving the American dream. It seemed to be a hard thing to do these days, so I was feeling pretty accomplished. I owned a fancy German car, lived in a coastal New England seaside community, and was making a great living. The summers were incredible. It's the time of year that felt the greatest. But for those moments that we weren't enjoying that time, everything else was costing us, not monetarily, but emotionally and physically. In October of 2018, I landed in the hospital twice for kidney issues. I'm never sick. I eat pretty healthy and I drink a lot of water. Work, on the other hand, had become very stressful. Shortly after returning to work, I had a breaking moment that made me say no more. I felt my values were in jeopardy with where I was told to go. It took time to understand the circumstances. Either continue down the path and risk going to the hospital again, continue making choices against my beliefs, or take a huge risk and start life over at 38 years old. I made the latter choice. I quit my job with nothing to replace it. So Tiffany and I began discussing our options. What was going to make us most happy? Having fun and enjoying life was at the top of our list. Personal possessions were not. We had a lot of stuff. And we realized that those things weren't making us happy. They were just taking up space in our home. So we talked about downsizing into a condo and getting a retail space for her business. That didn't happen, so we moved on to considering backpacking across Europe. While that would have been fun, timing and the cost of doing that just wasn't making sense at the time. So finally, we talked about RVing. Tiffany had come up with the idea of doing it, and I love doing research, and I did some research around it, and it seemed like a really cool thing to do. So this is the adventure that we're going to take moving forward. So we decided to sell our home, and we ended up selling it in February of 19, and we left mid-March, but we had to go through the process of downsizing from all of our personal belongings.
Okay, so over the last couple of weeks I've been giving my beautiful wife a hard time about how much stuff she has, and now it's my turn. I have a ton of stuff that I need to get through, so I'm just going to give you some perspective. So I have bin after bin after bin of stuff that I've just been hanging on to, and it's starting to get a little overwhelming now because we're out of here in a week, and this is not going to be an easy task. As time goes on, you just start accumulating, and you don't realize it until it's time to actually move on. It's a little intimidating. I thought for sure that like I was being great organized and being able to handle it very well, but you quickly realize that when you start uncovering everything that it is definitely not what you thought it was. So the anxiety definitely kicked in today. So we're changing plans. My initial plan was just to use a small little bagster that you can get at like your home improvement store. Ain't gonna cut it. So I've actually got to get a truck in here to help move a lot of this stuff out of here. We really wanted to downsize and be down to nothing. and we're gonna not be at that, but we're gonna be close. Almost all the furniture is almost gone. I have a few pieces left upstairs, and then we're good on that part. Other than that, though, it's the small things that I have to start going through. So I have clothes from 20 years ago that I'm holding on to, thinking like, hey, it'll be vintage someday. Cool, hold on to it. Nah, it's not going to be a good idea. So the challenge is coming. So pressure's on. Okay, back to the garage. All right, so making progress. Yesterday, I cleared out about 4 giant totes. These guys right here, I think they're 35-gallon totes. Sorry for the quick video. So that's good to go. And then I got the truck. So we did a junk haul truck that's in town. They're gonna come by on Wednesday afternoon, and they're gonna take everything that we don't want. So we're gonna set up a corner right there to get rid of everything we don't want. Now, if you are moving and you want to get a truck, something to help you organize your space and see how much space you have, I measured out the size of the interior of the truck, so that way I know how much space that we actually have. Now, if you are not planning to downsize, this would be a great idea, because this will give you an exact measurement of what you can use for space. We even did the height too, so you can even see that 6 feet 7 inches. That's the height of the truck that we're doing. But it is a lot that we are going to be working on. But the goal is to make sure that this truck is not full. And if it's not full, that means we can put everything low to the bottom half of the truck, near the axles and the bed, so that way it's not rocking everywhere. But we'll see. So, okay, so I just had a meeting with the missus, so we came up with a game plan for today and for the rest of the week around what needs to happen. I can't stress how important it is to talk with your partner or whoever's helping you move, to communicate out who's going to be doing what and what needs to happen. So we've got to a point where we figured out how we're going to get this whole area filled in the correct way, so that when we do have the truck rides correctly. But we also talked about the importance of what is not important to be taking with us, and that was a tough conversation for both of us, because we realized that we still have a lot of stuff that we have to get rid of pretty quickly.
Maybe twice, I question how should suffice, 'cause distance sucks. Na 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 na
Office. We're going to see our attorney right after to do paperwork, so that way he can be our power of attorney while we're out, because we're taking right off. Our actual closing date isn't until April 1st, and we're taking off on the 15th from Salem. We'll be in Western Mass on the 16th, and then we'll be taking off then to head to Alabama.
Warmer.
Much warmer climate. Looking forward to that. Yeah, thankfully it's been kind of a mild winter. Like, we haven't had to worry about too much snow. We got I don't know, probably about a foot of snow over the course of a week, about 2 weeks ago, and other than that, it's been pretty good. So the weather's been good this week, thankfully, because the house is, as you've seen in the few videos I've done already, it's like a tornado blew up in there. We put a lot of stuff in the garage and in boxes, and we've been selling a lot of stuff online to people. We've been constantly having strangers at the house picking up things, so thank you to everybody who's bought from us.
Yes, thank you.
It's made it a lot easier. easier for sure, but we still have a ways to go. We have 3 more days of things to take care of. So the majority of the house is packed up, but it's gonna come down to cleaning and making sure that we have everything lined up in the truck very well. It's weird, like we got rid of our bed frame and our box spring, and we're sleeping on the floor on our mattress like a college couple. Like we're like, it almost looks like that we have our first apartment, and with nothing in it at this point. The cats are freaking out. There's just trash strewn everywhere. But I'd have to say the process is going pretty smooth. Like we're still 3 days out, and we're probably gonna be close to finish in the next day or so on like all the deep stuff. I'd have to say like the biggest challenge that since we've started like really putting it down has been just making the decision to let things go. I think that's probably been that you know, because once you're in a role doing it, like it's easy. So if we getting started to say, okay, I'm gonna let this go, I'm gonna let this go, that's the hardest part. But once you do that a few times over the course of a few minutes, it starts getting easier, because then you're just like, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. It's when you stop and you have to go back to doing it, it gets hard again, because then you have to get your mindset where it's like, well, do I really need this? So, and it also depends on time of day when we're doing it too. So if it's earlier in the day, it's usually a little bit easier, but at the end of the day, I've noticed that I've been getting tired at the end of the day, and I'm trying to make decisions on whether we need stuff or not, and I just have to step away.
I'm like the opposite. At the end of the night, I just start throwing everything away. I'm just like, I just get rid of it, all of it. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
For the longest time, she had outdid me on belongings, and now I outdo her on belongings. So, you know, what's like, you know, pushing you to get rid of your stuff?
Well, I liked the whole minimalism documentary on Netflix. And I like the idea of keeping your favorites. So stop holding on to stuff that's just all right or overly used.
Yeah.
So that way you can actually wear, you know, your favorite jeans, your favorite tops, your favorite shoes. Because I found that I was doing the opposite. I was wearing the okay stuff and like, saving my favorites for special occasions, but special occasions never happened. So all my like favorites just sit in the closet collecting dust. So now I actually have a chance to wear my favorites now that I'm getting rid of all the extras.
Yeah.
It's almost like I went shopping.
Yeah, it's like you found all this new stuff that you never wore.
Or wore once.
Or wore once.
Or twice. Because I was always afraid I'd get it dirty or,
Yeah.
like I said, special occasions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, those jeans, those are my favorite jeans. I need to like wear those more often.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that what made me want to do away with a lot of the things. Well, a couple of things. First things, I think, like physical health. So, because we have moved seven times in the last 8 years, maybe something like that, and it was starting to take a toll on my body. Like, you know, we move like every year or every other year, and my back is, you know, not doing. It's not handling the pressure as much as it used to. So being able to, you know, give my back a break and realize that, like, you know, this stuff is gonna have to like go away at some point, so why not do it now? A more personal reason other than the physical reason, I think, was just not having to think that I need to have all this stuff now. It's like, it's like, it was very relieving thinking like that.
It is.
You know, it like the end goal is to get down to nothing. We're not there. We got a 16-foot truck to take our stuff down to Alabama. I thought we would be getting down there with half that truck full. That truck's still going to be full. When we moved to Minnesota 8 years ago, we had a 24-foot truck, and then that truck ended up only being half full going there, but coming back it was full to the brim. So we had a full 24-foot truck. So we're doing better. I think, though, once we get back down to Alabama, we're gonna have to to downsize more, but just not having the stuff, it was a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Like, I'm down to the more, more important things that we need to have.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and after you start going through a lot of stuff, it becomes a headache owning all that stuff.
yeah.
It's just easier simplifying everything. Just keep it simple.
Yeah. We are at T-minus 2 days, and it is just about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up to this amazing view. We're about to lose that view by choice. We're gonna come back to this, but I got up really early this morning because I had a lot to do. We are on T-minus 0. We're on the last day. Tiff is inside wrapping up, and we are about ready to hit the road. I'd probably say in about an hour or so. It's been a long, arduous process. We took that truck behind me and filled it to the brim. So we've got 16 feet worth of stuff in here. So some of it's gonna come out. Thank goodness we have some stuff going to some family, but we tried to get the 40-liter bags. Not ready yet, but we downsized quite a bit. We went from having close to 30-foot truck to 16 feet. So we cut our belongings in half, but we're not done yet. We're going to continue to try to get rid of our things.